it's LBtwink and welcome back to my channel. Notice how I didn't say girls and gays there, and that's because I feel like this video is honestly gonna be for everyone. As you guys can tell by the title of today's video, it will be a little bit more on the serious side. I like to come on my channel and talk about these kind of things because they're things that personally affect me, that I know affect a lot of other people in this world who are in the same boat as I am. And I just feel like coming on here and just chatting about it puts a lot of people at comfort and even puts myself at comfort. If you guys don't know already, around almost like 2 years ago when I first started my channel back up, I came back with a video about how I got HIV at 17, and since then it has been a reoccurring thing for me to come on in my channel and talk about having HIV. There's not a lot of representation in the community for people who are HIV positive, so that is something that I like to be. With the fact that there's literally a global pandemic going on and the coronavirus is like everywhere, I felt like I should come on and talk about like my experience, like how I've been kind of dealing with everything. So maybe if anyone's in the same kind of situation I'm in, you can get a new perspective. This isn't gonna be a video where I'm like plugging myself, but if you guys aren't already, go and subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up so we can make a lot of people see this, because this shit is important and we need to talk about it. Now, a lot of the information I am going to get today comes from the CDC website, so I'm gonna go ahead and like link all my sources below so you guys can fact check me on that. Let's talk about living with HIV during a global pandemic. First, before I get into like the hard facts, I just kind of want to tell you guys like what I've been doing to, number one, keep healthy, and number two, just function throughout everything. The CDC considers certain people with certain conditions to be at a higher risk of the illness, and one of those things includes people living with HIV. When this all first started happening, I was working my normal ass job. I was just functioning through life normally. At first, when it popped up, I didn't really get too scared about it because it wasn't really the biggest deal. But about 2 months ago, when this started becoming a bigger deal, like, I do not know how I feel about like working right now, because if you guys don't know, HIV is literally a virus that constantly attacks your immune system. So I'm over here thinking like, hey, I already have this thing attacking my immune system that I take medication for daily. I really don't want to pose myself at a higher risk of getting another deadly condition that we do not have a vaccine for. Thankfully, I am on HIV medication and I am undetectable, so I am, of course, in a healthy state of health per se. With that being said, it's not something that I really want to risk. So when this all started happening, I stopped going to work. Now, thankfully, my work situation, the job I was working at, offered a 30-day paid leave if you were considered high risk. So I had to go through this like whole process with my job where I got a 30-day paid leave, which was really awesome, and I'm really thankful because I know for a fact that's not everyone's situation. I took those 30 days off, but I didn't really know what I was gonna do after the 30 days. But again, thankfully, I decided after those 30 days ended that I really didn't want to go back to work because we were literally in peak season of coronavirus cases, and I believe still cases are going up every single day. I just refrained from going to work and just being in the general public. And of course, just trying my best to stay healthy. That's just been my little personal experience with it. If you're someone else who has HIV, I honestly would not recommend risking it if it's possible. If you have the option to not do it at this moment in time, I wouldn't do it. And that's my personal opinion, just because I don't really want to go and like risk everything. The type of job I was working, I was exposed to many people like at all times of the day, and I still think I'm gonna take as much time as I need off before this whole situation sorts out itself. Need be if it really came down to it and I had to quit, I think that's what I would have to end up doing, sadly. There's just certain things like that where my health is definitely gonna come before any job. That's my own personal choice. I've already been living with this condition for about almost 3 years now, and it already has up and downs on its own, so thinking about adding something else into the mix like that is just really, it's just not what I want to do. Now, since I gave you guys my own little personal spiel, I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys what you really kind of need to know about living with HIV and being worried about coronavirus. Again, I said I'm taking all this information from the CDC's website, so that will again be linked down below. So the first thing I kind of want to touch on is that are people who are living with HIV more at risk to getting COVID-19 rather than the average person? I feel like we're all susceptible to COVID-19 in about like the same way we all are doing as much as we can to not get it. It is passed through the air through like droplets from your bodily fluids, so it can be kind of difficult to avoid. People who are living with HIV, you aren't at a greater chance of getting sick as anyone else if you take your medication. Hopefully, if you do have HIV, you are on medication for this because medication is literally like the #1 priority. And I do want to highlight that on the CDC actual website, it says that they have no specific information about the risk of COVID-19 and people living with HIV. But if you are taking your medication, you should be on a healthy note and pose as much as a risk of getting it to yourself as any other normal person. If you are not taking your medication, which means you have a low CD4 count, which is your white blood cells, that obviously is going to pose a great risk because that is already your immune system is not where it should normally be. If you're taking your medication, you should be solid. So along with that, how can someone living with HIV protect themselves from getting this virus? Of course, we have to do what everyone is doing right now. Maintain social distancing, just do your best to not come in close contact with a lot of other people. Added onto that, you should also be, and I feel like I practice this daily too, is getting 8 hours of sleep at night because sleep is literally like your best friend, and I mean, we all enjoy it, so like go sleep. You should be reducing your stress as much as possible because again, when you are stressing yourself out so much, your body is not gonna do its best to fight anything that's coming in your body. Those are some ways if you're living with HIV that you can kind of just like help yourself out a little bit, is try to at least eat right, get 8 hours of sleep, and stop stressing so much. And of course, if you do end up thinking that you have COVID-19, you should of course contact your doctor right away. I have been in contact with my whole specialty doctor that I have for my HIV. Some other things you should probably take into consideration is having a 30-day supply of medication around you at all times. I get my medication delivered to my door, which I'm like so thankful for. But if you can get that service, I would definitely recommend doing that because honestly, like you just have to call in and they'll get it to you like as soon as they can. Make sure you have extra medication on hand. Hopefully you guys also do have a great support network around you. If you don't, you guys are always free to reach out to me if you have any questions about like HIV or anything. Like I love to be that bitch to like be your bestie like by your side through this whole thing, because I get having HIV, you could be more susceptible to feeling down and stuff, and especially everything scary is going on, but let me tell you, you are going to be okay as long as you take care of yourself. So take care of yourself. The CDC also talks about how they have been experimenting with using HIV medication to treat coronavirus. In a sense, that does kind of make sense. What HIV medication ends up doing is heightening the amount of white blood cells you have, as well as limiting the amount of the virus that is affecting your body. So in a way, your immune system is being boosted. In my head, like what makes sense with them trying to use it, there hasn't been any proven facts, but that's why it is very important, and I cannot stress this enough, to like take your medication every single day. And also with everything going on, I know pharmacies and everything, the essential businesses we have are functioning normally, so you don't have to be worried about running out of medication or anything like that. I don't believe there is going to be a shortage anytime soon, so hopefully that puts you at a little like nice like piece of rest in your heart. We don't know what's gonna happen. We know there's not gonna be a shortage of medication, so period. And let's say if you're someone who doesn't have HIV and you've watched the video this far, maybe what are some things you could do to help comfort people who are living with HIV? We already face a lot of discrimination from our own community, which has been getting better as the years go on, but it still has a long ways to go. We need to, again, support them, be allies with them. Just make sure you check in on your friends who have it and everything like that, and just be an ally. On another note, some good news at least, is that I read an article over on pause.com, which if you guys don't know what that is, it is a magazine and an online like source for information, I would say, but they wrote an article about how people who were living with HIV were affected by coronavirus from people who actually got it, and they like actually fact checked it and stuff. And they stated in their article that HIV positive people are no more likely to contract it than the average person. But I'm gonna go ahead and link that article. It's a really good read. I would definitely recommend checking it out, especially if you are someone who is HIV positive. Now, with that being said, I know times are really tough right now. We're all doing the very best that we can, and I think we need to keep that in mind. I have my whole own personal opinions on this whole coronavirus. I feel like the media is doing way too fucking much. I don't know, I want to know in the comments below, have you guys had any personal accounts with coronaviruses, whether it be yourself or family members you know, or other people you know who have contracted it? Because at this point, I really don't know what to believe, but I do know that I'd rather be safe than sorry, so at the end of the day, my ass is staying here. That's pretty much all I really have to spiel out for today. Hopefully you guys learned something new from this video as because I know diving into this video, I actually learned a lot of new stuff that honestly brought me comfort too. Whether you're HIV positive or you're not, this is all valuable information that we could use. That is going to wrap up today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Of course, if you did, let me know in the comments below, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. XOXO LBtwink.
And we stand like Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis.